Immediately, I thought, why are we making this our business? You know, there should be an objective for this information. It's to have an understanding about the Muslim dress, great. But if we're looking to understand it so we can justify telling someone the way that she should be dressed, then it's totally wrong. So immediately I thought, why are we making this our business?
Why do you choose to fully cover?
It's an evolved understanding. You know, when I leave here, sometimes I might choose not to cover my face. It's something that I've grown to understand. Some Muslims don't cover their hair, and that's because being a Muslim is about 5 pillars. Praying, that takes importance. How you're dressed has very little to do, in essence. It's more so about character. You know, when you think of a Buddhist, think of a Muslim, because we're equally as spiritual and peaceful.
Rabia, do you feel that covering your hair and somehow enhances your relationship with God?
On a personal level, yeah, but it shouldn't impact on anything else that I do. I was once famously told by my boss just to leave your hijab at the door when you come into work. And essentially, metaphorically speaking, it means that everything else is completely separated from that. But it's a personal choice that I've taken. And it's a personal choice that impacts on my life and my lifestyle, but doesn't impact on anything else outside of that. It's a very personal thing to do.
And how did you come to that personal decision?
I always knew I wanted to wear it. But about 13 years ago, I thought, right, it just felt about the right time to do something. I just finished university. It just felt like I'd grown up a bit. I had a better understanding of my faith, and I felt that, right, this was the right time to do it. And it was a complete surprise to the rest of my family. My dad kind of went, oh, I didn't know you were wearing it now. Okay, that's fine. And I did. And my mum, she didn't wear it till much later on. After she came back from Hajj, it was a spiritual journey for her, and she decided then to wear it full time.
One of the things in the survey is that they're asking other Muslim people what they think, which I think is why it's so interesting, because do you sometimes feel judged or criticised by the general population for being fully covered?
Absolutely. There is definitely a stereotype on how the Muslim woman will behave and how she's dressed. So I'll often people saying to me, are you all right over there? Because I think I'm from another country, but I'm like, actually, no, I'm okay. So, you know, I think we really just have to educate people. If we're going to use this kind of information, let's use it for a greater good. Let's look at equal opportunities and understanding that we should accept people's differences. Whether I'm a man that wants to wear women's clothing, whether I'm a goth, you know, let's not focus on why do people dress like this. Let's focus on, let's let people be who they are, because this doesn't determine who I am. You know, there are many things that determine our appearance. Cultural understanding of something, the environment. Let's look at Turkey. In Turkey, they said that you couldn't even wear a headscarf. So women had to make choices because of their environment.
So what do you say when people respond to you and say, look, I find it alienating when I meet a woman who is fully covered. I just don't know how to act or how to behave.
But then that's more, the onus is on that person who's approaching you with, you know, someone who's completely covered from head to toe. And I've worn the same outfit when I've been to Saudi Arabia because it's respecting tradition, it's respecting how people out there cover themselves. That's your issue, it's not my issue. I am who I am, and I will speak to you just as I would speak to anybody else. It doesn't impact on anything that I say to you, the fact that I'm covering my hair or I've covered my face.
How much is it, Rabia, I mean, you're always so fashionably dressed. How much is it also part of how you put your outfit together in a day or used in a fashion sense? It's
like choosing a pair of socks, it matches, so you'd wear it. I don't think it's got, it's a kind of, there is a huge, within the Muslim girl community, I think, there is a huge kind of industry of girls learning to wear their hijabs in a certain way, dress in a certain way.
There are so many dimensions to hijab, you know. Hijab is a set of conditions to wear loose clothing, to not stand out. So if I wanted to get fashionable, then I could go shopping and think, well, hey, I'm going to wear red today, you know. So there are different conditions and dimensions to hijab.
And Shalina, do you think God cares whether or not you're covered?
Obviously, it's a complex answer. You know, it's only something that I can grasp. I say that whenever somebody asks me, why do I cover? It's like me saying, you know, how an apple tastes. Unless you've tasted the apple, you're not really going to embrace that answer.
I'm going to interrupt you both because I'm pleased to say we're able to talk to Julia Sirakasuma, who joins us now from Indonesia. Julia, good to see you. You choose not to cover your head at all. Why is that?
I don't see the point in covering my head. Why should I cover my head? It doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that you should cover your head.
And is that a common view in Indonesia?
It is. It is a common view. I mean, I think people don't necessarily look at the Quran, but it's just because in Indonesia we're very moderate, and even my grandmother, she didn't wear we call it jilbab here. She wore a veil, like Benazir Bhutto. It's a light lace kind of veil, but not. She didn't cover her head in the way that people do in the Middle East.
And how do you, it's hard to see you right now, but how do you choose to dress otherwise? Do you leave the house and are you always modestly dressed?
A little bit more now that I'm older, but my husband used to call me sexy pants because I wore I still do actually wear tight jeans and tank tops, and it's very common to see women here wearing that kind of attire.
And do people and young girls in Indonesia ever feel criticised or judged, particularly by men, for the clothing that they wear?
Sometimes, but not. I mean, when you say Indonesia is not homogeneous. We're a very plural society. But if you're talking about Jakarta, then it's very common to see women wearing skimpy clothes, wearing shorts in the streets, and tank tops. It's not uncommon at all. So we are the largest population of country populated by Muslims in the world, but we're what I call tropical Islam, and we're quite. There are many different versions of Islam here and in Indonesia, and it's nothing like the Middle East at all.